But now we heard Sean and how he came into Mythicist Milwaukee and Mythicism in general. But now, what about you, Rob? How did you come to the organization and how did you come to the whole Mythicist position in general?
Godless engineer, a conscious pioneer, a logic general, a reason brigadier. More bullshit from the pulpit. Meet me in the comment section and you get schooled, bitch. The Godless engineer.
Well, I looked for, secular organizations in the area, atheist groups. Honestly, I just got to a point in my life where I felt like I wanted to, give back in a community activism kind of way. And it wasn't going to be a church for me. And so I thought to myself, well, let me look for this. And it was actually Twitter that brought me to a community of atheist people in general. And then I said, well, I'm going to physically look for a local group. And Milwaukee, basically had the only kind of community of secular people. And it wasn't more than a couple of weeks when I met, Sean and Tonio. I like to call him like they're one person, Sean Tonio. And they were looking for the same thing, but they had this card in their pocket, and it was Zeitgeist, and it did the same thing to me. When I watched it, I was like, oh my God, where's this been? And no matter what about it is real or wrong, it didn't have to be based on any real research as far as I was concerned. It was simply a different perspective. Anybody could have made it up, but it let you know that, wait, the things, even as an atheist, the things that I took for granted might simply be wrong. So I was blown right away by it too, and the rest is history. We all just started hanging out, and one by one, people started piling on who wanted to do stuff, and now we're doing stuff, and we're doing incredible, huge, big, groundbreaking, never been done before in Milwaukee stuff.
Oh yeah, I have to say that it's pretty awesome everything that you guys are doing up there for the secular community in general. So I really applaud you guys for putting in all of your hard work. Now, Lawrence, I'm kind of curious, how did you come by the organization and the Mythicist position in general?
This is actually kind of a fun story. I first, I watched Zeitgeist like a few years ago, maybe like, was it 4 or 5 years ago? A while ago. And I watched the first part and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Because obviously there's a lot of misinformation in the rest of it, but that's for something else. So I thought that was really interesting. I didn't look into it anymore, but I always thought it was really interesting. And then when I started the atheist community of Milwaukee, Sean actually got in contact with me, and we met up, and I've been working with the team ever since. And then I went to the Misinformation Conference, and Richard Carrier presented some damn good evidence. And I was like, yeah, I guess there's reason to doubt. So,
well, awesome. I'm glad that you listened to Carrier, and and you didn't try to go into it with any kind of biases, because I know that when I started really looking into it, my story resonates a lot with Carrier and Fitzgerald and all them, because it's like I just assumed, for instance, that Jesus was a historical person, and then when I was like, well, I haven't really done the research, so I went and did the research, and I found out all this cool information about the Gospels and about myths in general. So I have to say that it's been a pretty amazing road to it for me. And I'm glad that you are working with the Mythicist Milwaukee team now. So Lawrence, what do you do with the Mythicist Milwaukee team?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What am I doing with what?
What do you do with the team?
I think Sean assigned me as a podcast assistant something. I don't really know, but other than that, I don't know what else I do. I sit around and give people my opinions, if that counts.
Well, what Lawrence does is kind of what we all do, is we show up every Sunday, and when we have projects going, and that's the one thing we figured out with running conferences, and we're working on a film right now. It's kind of like a I'll give you a little teaser. It's essentially going to be the follow-up to Zeitgeist, but it's not going to be called Zeitgeist, but it's going to be with actual scholarship. But we're trying to raise some funds for that. But so we're coming up with all these ideas, and so what Lawrence does, kind of like the rest of us, we just kind of pitch in where we can. It's like if something needs to get done, we get it done. Like even at the day of the conference, like Lawrence was running and getting coffee for 115 people, and running and doing all this stuff and making sure that everyone's where they need to be. And that's the one thing with this project. We've all kind of learned something new, something that we haven't done before, like website development, podcast hosting, just all of this stuff. But so it keeps us motivated.
Yeah, well, I have to say that I learned a lot from my first little live thing that I did from the first convention with you guys, and but I have to say it did prepare me for the conference called Wonder. Only in that it they didn't really have decent internet. As compared to you guys picked a venue where you had excellent internet. So I have to say thank you so much for that.
and John, Godless, what did you take away from Milwaukee when you were out here? I know you were interviewing a lot of people. I mean, remember, this is an area that's been starved, as Carrier put it. It's a starved area for secularism. Like, what were your experiences in Milwaukee?
I guess that I'm a bit more well known than I thought that I was, because we had that breakfast the day that we were all leaving out, and the guy that actually bought all of us breakfast was like, "Oh, I've been sitting next to him this whole time. Can you imagine that?" And he was saying that to Carrier, and I'm like, you said that to Carrier about me. What are you talking about?" But yeah, I guess just getting to know more people and getting to know their stories and being able to hear them and connect with them on that kind of personal level, I figured out that I really love doing that, and so that's what's really driving me to get out more and talk to more secular and secular atheists and mythicists and everything like that. And I know that the secular community is really, really wanting to be a community and is really wanting to reach out and connect with other people. So I think that was my big takeaway from it.
Yeah, and Daniel Wiebe, that was a great interview, by the way, the ex-Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, yeah. I've got to get another one with him, too, because... I think that we can go a little bit deeper into it and really hit on some good stuff. But now I'm kind of curious, what are you guys doing to prepare for this next conference? And I believe it's in September, right?
Yep, September 27th. So what we do, like I said, we meet, and this is kind of the dedication that's required. We meet every Sunday. We have a public space that we rent out, and that's where we also podcast. It's called Bucket Works, and it's located downtown Milwaukee. And the owner of Bucket Works has let us use the space, and it's been great. What we do is we meet every Sunday, and we discuss kind of what's coming up. We give people projects, and we're doing all different things, marketing and handing out flyers and just everything, anything that you can do. And the other thing that we do is we kind of meet every day. But essentially, all right, so I'll go back to what I was just summarizing what I was saying. So what we do is we meet every Sunday for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, and we discuss what needs to happen and all the projects that need to get done, whether it's marketing or, handing out flyers or, getting name tags or whatever. Everyone kind of takes on a task, and then we go to work. But one of the, you can ask Rob and Lawrence. I mean, we're literally communicating every day. As soon as something happens, we're talking, we're trying to take care of stuff. If a problem comes up, or if an idea comes up, we're always working together to try to, take care of things as quickly as possible.
There's like 10 Facebook threads and 5 message threads and 10 text threads, and we're always talking about and keeping up with media contacts too, and always reaching out to the local media outlets.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do have a press release going out soon. That's one of the things I definitely would suggest to any groups out there. If you're trying to do something like this, get a press release together. We're going to send it out. And Rob actually was the last conference. Rob was on television, so that was great.
Yeah, this time I'm sure they'll jump at the chance to interview KP if we can get him to agree. That's something.
Yeah.
People will recognize the name, and especially the TV constituency in Milwaukee. They might jump at the chance to interview Killer Priest.
And the one interesting thing is too, for your listeners, we have had Todd Stiefel from the Stiefel Free Thought Foundation. He's him, Richard Dawkins Foundation, the Secular Student Alliance, and the Secular Coalition of America all teamed up and did that openly secular coalition. I don't know if you've seen those videos where it's like, I'm openly secular. But they made openly secular, maybe sending somebody down to Milwaukee to videotape Killer Priest at the conference, so that'll be pretty big for us.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.